Hi there, this is Abel James with FatBurningMan.com, and thanks so much for listening. Today, I'm stoked to be here with Richard Nikoley of Free the Animal. And Richard is one of the leading voices in the paleo community and also an inspiring figure. Richard and I cover everything from how food manufacturers and major institutions use secret handshakes to sell people absolute crap, to why organ meats kick the tar out of fortified grains, and the relative benefits of eating like a caveman. Are you ready? Cool, here we go. Richard, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
You're a very entertaining blogger. I love your blog over at freetheanimal.com, and you're an inspiring figure to boot. Tipping the scale at about 240 and over 33% body fat, you decided to do something about it. And you eschewed the standard American diet, went paleo, lost 60 pounds, and gained a heck of a lot of strength, too, as I understand.
Yeah, I did, and I haven't, because of a neck injury, I've been not at the gym nearly as much this year. I've had to take it easy, but the thing is, if you keep the protein up, you keep the muscle mass. You don't. It's not like, oh my God, if I don't go to the gym and work out 2 times a week, I'm going to lose my muscle. No, you need to eat protein.
Right. Yeah, I was floored by when that happened in my experience. I actually went without lifting for about a month, and I hardly lost any muscle at all, but I did lose fat. So I was really surprised by that. I even went on a Caribbean cruise, and I mean, you probably know what happens on those things. You just eat yourself to death almost.
Oh, man.
It can be pretty rough.
I did. When I went on a cruise, it was only like a 4-day thing or something. 3 days. So I pretty much just stuck to a liquid diet.
Really?
Liquid diet and protein, eggs and well, the ship had like unlimited supply of like hard-boiled eggs.
Yep.
So I basically ate a lot of those because if you are going to be drinking alcohol, it's a good idea to keep the carbs very low while you're drinking. So.
That's right. Yeah, and actually, it was pretty ridiculous. My girlfriend and I, when we were there, we noticed that the salad bar wasn't very good at all. It was all this limp lettuce, iceberg, and stuff. And but they had these beautiful garnishes. This kale and red peppers. So we started eating that instead of the actual salad.
Yeah.
Cool. So as part of this interview series, I'm looking at people who've lost a significant amount of weight and been able to keep it off. What was your motivation for really making a change and then sticking to it?
Well, initially blood pressure.
Really?
Yeah, it was really over the top, like 150 to 160, 100 to 110.
Wow.
And I didn't want to go on medication. I was already on medications for allergies and GERD, heartburn.
Yeah.
And I did some research, and I found that heavy lifting, or strenuous, not necessarily heavy lifting, but resistance training tends to start to help blood pressure. So that's where I got started, and then kind of one thing just led to the other, and I got caught up in this whole ridiculous movement.
Yeah, so that goes neatly into my next question. So it's no secret that I'm a huge proponent of the paleo and ancestral approach to nutrition and lifestyle, but could you tell us a little bit more about the benefits of eating like a caveman, so to speak?
I'm glad that you phrased the question like that, because I think there is a distinction to be made between paleo and ancestral.
Right. Could you get on? I know you like getting on a soapbox from time to time.
Yeah.
Could you do that as far as your eating plan goes?
Yeah. So you want soapbox? Here's soapbox. Look around you. I'm 51, so I can still remember well back into the 70s. Look at pictures of people, how they looked back in the 70s, and compare it now, and combine that with the dietary advice that's been given. How many times do you have to repeat the bromide that, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? And I don't mean that on an individual level as much as I do on the level of policy, which leads to the next box, which involves what I call the grant horse. You have this kind of gauntlet of this leviathan of the food industry and the research industry and the news media all working kind of hand in hand, patting each other on the back, secret handshake to basically promote crap. And the reason I say that is because if you go to my website, freetheanimal.com, search for nutrition density, you'll see a post there where I compare beef liver to fruit.
Right. Yeah, I love that one.
So how much fruit does it take to roughly approach, and it doesn't even exceed it, but roughly approach 4 ounces of beef liver? This is like 400 calories, maybe at most. 4 ounces of beef liver takes 5 pounds of fruit. Now, we're talking fruit. We're talking a paleo thing. Right. So there's another thing. You can do another search and just do liver bread. And there's another post I did where I compared an entire loaf of bread, which is 1,400 calories, with an equal caloric serving of liver and an equal caloric serving of salmon. Mm-hmm. And you can see the graphs now.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The graphs are off the chart, but there's numbers. So even like with the loaf of bread where some sort of mineral will be at the top, it might have a 150 or something. And you compare the same one with liver and it's like 6,000, yeah, 25,000. I mean, I haven't calculated it, but I have to say that the level of nutrition between that beef liver overall and that loaf of bread, same 1,400 calories, is on the order of thousands of percent. Mm-hmm. And for the salmon, at least hundreds of percent. Right. Right? So what we have here for the benefit of growing these huge fields of grain, and so all these multinational food companies can take these grains and this processed oil and sugar, and basically it's 3 ingredients.
Yeah,
everything you see on this shelf is basically 3 ingredients. The stuff in boxes and bags, right. It's grains and it's oils and it's sugar, and it's just put together in different ways, yeah. Right?
Don't forget that yummy salt too.
Yeah, and then they fortify it. Well, if it's supposedly healthy food in the first place, why does it need fortification?
Right.
Right. So then they market this stuff, and they sponsor all these studies to tell you why Quaker Oats oatmeal lowers your cholesterol. Mm-hmm. Begging the question, really, why do you need lower cholesterol anyway? Right.
That's a good point.
So, it's an awful state of affairs that we're in, and what is most disconcerting is the fact that there are so many in the health journalists and bloggers that are particularly in the big sites, like the Tara Parker Popes and that ilk.
Yep.
How these people just can't see the forest of the trees, and it's just the same thing over and over again. It's either eat more grains and or should I say heart healthy whole grains, and eat more of this. And oh, by the way, your problem is you're just a slothful sinner. You're too gluttonous, you eat too much, and you don't exercise enough. Well, go on the treadmill sometime and do a good incline 4 mile an hour pace, right? For half an hour, you can program it in with your weight and everything. It'll tell you how many calories you burned, mm-hmm. right? Then go drink a beer and a slice of pizza, and I guarantee you've just blown away that whole thing. And and you get down that beer and slice of pizza in about 3 minutes,
exactly.
Right? Can't exercise off a bad diet, perhaps unless you're like a serious marathon runner or something. Yeah, I suppose.
I tried to for a while running marathons, and even that didn't work.
But that's so catabolic. You're just wasting muscle mass. I have a picture in my book, which I guess we'll talk about at some point. But I mean, everybody who's into this has seen it on the internet. That picture of that marathon runner, I think from Sweden or something, next to, I think it's Carl Lewis or something.
Just
the
absurd.
marathon versus the sprinter. Yeah.
Yeah, I recently put out a video about that. I did that test on myself. I did 2 marathons in 2 months, and I expected that I'd be in the best shape of my life. And then I scaled it back to doing like 5 or 10 miles a day and started sprinting. And I reduced body fat, and I put on like 10 pounds of muscle when I stopped running so damn much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, because it wanted to come back anyway. You didn't even need to have hypertrophy. It was like, hey, I'm supposed to have this muscle. Okay, now I'm getting enough nutrients. Now I'm getting enough protein. I'm just going to go and build it right back.
Yeah, those stupid goo packs. They didn't help anything.
No. Yeah.
So how has your life changed since you got caught up in this whole mess, as you put it?
Well, my blog became popular. Right. I mean, that is a daily sort. That's really kind of, to tell you the truth, who knows if I'd have been, if I didn't have, people, I think a lot of people look at my blog and other blogs and all the stuff out there as kind of their support network, especially the ones who comment and stuff like that. And certainly, for Mark Sisson, huge support network that he has there with the comments and all of and his forum and everything. Yeah, but my support, I have a support network too. Just because I'm on the other side of that fence doesn't mean that I don't have something to live up to. Right. I mentioned I had this herniated disc and I was in chronic pain for about 3 months, like 24/7, could barely sleep at all. And then only on one side, couldn't sleep on the other side of my back because the pain manifested in my arm, and it was just like an aching arm all the time. And after a while of going through that kind of pain, you start to not care a lot anymore. So it's really hard to keep mentally up. I didn't feel like cooking anything. So I put on probably about 15 pounds, before the summer time when things started getting better. And so that was kind of embarrassing, and some people have pointed out, they've seen me in videos and stuff like that. So I'm very interested in getting back in shape. But, if I didn't have the blog and I wasn't putting myself out there like that, then who's to say where I wouldn't have just said, to hell with it, it's good enough, right?
Yeah, it's accountability built in.
Yeah, there's an accountability there. And so it's good to have that. So for any of my people reading out there, thanks for holding my feet to the fire. That's exactly what should happen. So.
Yeah, that's so cool. It really is, and I can't help but feel the same way. That's one of the reasons I wrote my book in the first place, was kind of to put down what I've learned from the many years of research and then putting up pictures of yourself, in the best shape of your life. It does keep you accountable because at some point someone will call you on it if you don't live up to that. So it's interesting how even the people who are keeping these blogs and writing the books are in the same situation as everyone else.
It's kind of remarkable how our books are roughly the similar length, 110 pages, and it's so much similar information. But they're both really geared towards the person who really doesn't know anything at all. That was my primary goal, is to put something out there that that people would be happy, all of my readers, all of your readers, would be happy to take your book and take my book and say, look, here, this will 2-3 hours, you're going to have it. You're going to have everything you need to start today, right now.
Right.
And you're going to love it.
Yeah. Fatburningman.com.